What's way more dangerous than most people think? Water currents, riptides in the ocean and eddy currents in streams. We have some river canyons with signs describing all of the ways you can die in the river and people still die swimming there. Walking downstairs with your hands in your pockets. Never ever do it, especially not drunk. A fall down even 1 or 2 stairs with no hands to catch you can break your neck. I've seen a video of a man tripping and falling down 4 stairs, hitting the top of his head on the wall and dying right there in the stairwell. Not getting regular checkups. I almost died because I had an internal hemorrhage that was slowly killing me. I was so depleted of iron and blood that the nurses thought my vitals were written in wrong because I should have been dead. I needed 3 pints of blood in one sitting. Mold. It can be poisonous, make you hallucinate, and eating it can seriously mess with your body. Cat bites. Hiking in Arizona heat. Palm trees. They are so much heavier than they look, and their branches can kinda just fall off without warning. A kind of random one. But don't eat uncooked slugs or snails. They can have parasites that will make you paralyzed and eventually kill you. An Australian kid died a couple of years ago from it. An awful way to go. Anything under tension can be dangerous. Guitar strings hold around 200 pounds of tension. A game of tug-of-war can put thousands of pounds of tension into a rope. It's even been known to kill people. Here's a list: https://Persionomics, history of tug-of-war fatalities. Towing a stuck car with a chain. There is a list of people who have died from having the chain come through the back window and kill them. Blocking your nose when you sneeze. Though it's rare, you can damage blood vessels in your eyes and nose. You can rupture your eardrum. And you can even have an aneurysm. Bites from other human beings are actually really dangerous due to infection rates. Rescuing a drowning person. Drowning people are completely panicked, with one goal, which is to get to air immediately, and they will climb on top of people in their blind panic and fear with little to no thought, as long as they can keep their head above water. There have been stories of young children drowning their older siblings and parents as the kid climb on top of their parents' heads and submerge them underwater. Rescuing a drowning person is no joke, and if you yourself a poor swimmer and/or not trained in water rescue, do not attempt rescue. Your safety is top priority. Instead, immediately call emergency services and try to either extend something out for the person to grab onto, like a pool noodle, pool net pole, branch, etc., or throw something that floats at the person for them to grab onto. The life jacket PFD is the best, but pool noodle, kickboard, floaty, even cooler esky lids work. If you are trained in water rescue, then you should already know that if you don't need to get into the water, remember call, reach, extend, throw, row, swim, in that order. And always assess the conditions of the water before going in if you do. If the water is too murky, the current is too strong, there is too many in-water hazards like logs or rocks, again, don't attempt rescue. It sounds horrific to think about, but always think of numero uno, and rescue teams would much rather only rescue 1 person than 2 people. If you do decide to jump into attempt rescue, then you should always ski something that floats with you so you can hand it off to the drownee before they grab onto you. Edit to add. I have already put this in another comment. Button seeing as some people may skip because they are commenting about how to punch someone in the face to knock them out. No. Hitting someone until they are knocked out may once have been a legitimate technique taught to those trained to be lifeguards. It is no longer taught, has not been for years now, and is actively discouraged. If there is anyone out there that thinks they can attempt in water rescue, here is what you do. Copied and pasted from my other comments. This story actually raises a good point. How do you approach a drowning person? I have heard from too many people. Degrees O. I have been told to knock them out, like slap them or hit them, while your husband did what he had to do to rescue his friend. This idea that you need to knock a drowning person out is incredibly outdated, not to mention highly unsafe, not just for the drowning person but yourself as well. First off, if you are close enough to hit a drowning person, you're close enough to be grabbed by them. Remember, a drowning person will latch onto anything that even appears to be floating to keep their head above water. That includes a person trying to rescue them. Remember, a drowning person is not thinking clearly. They are panicked and struggling for air. They will grab you and potentially pull you under to achieve a fresh gulp of air. As mentioned in my op, if you are going to save someone from drowning, you should ideally bring something that floats with you. But really it could be anything that the drownee can hold onto. Maybe don't bring a heavable anchor or dumbbell with you though. I got taught even a t-shirt or shoe can sometimes suffice. Anything to create a barrier between you and the drownee. As you approach the drownee, position your body so you are sorta upright. With one hand holding the floating up extended towards the drownee, shouting out, "Grab the float, I can help, grab the float." Hopefully the drownee does grab the float. But if they so happen to go to grab you, or your arm instead immediately go onto your back, feet towards the drownee, and kick hard away, you may have to repeat this process a number of times. Even when the drownee tires themselves out. What happens if the victim does grab you and starts to pull you under? Suck, tuck, and exhale down. Bring them down underwater with you. Sound like the opposite of what you should do. Remember the drowning person's goal: to get air. They can't do that underwater, so if you are taking them with you, they're going to let you kick away again. Ideally, if you can try to get behind them, they can't grab you from behind. In one forceful motion, tuck your arms under their shoulders, armpits. Raise your hips up and lock your knees around their hips. Being knocked unconscious. Lots of popular media makes it seem like a minor thing that an average person can shrug off after a short period. In reality, if you are ever knocked out, then you have suffered brain damage. It's possible there might not be any lasting effects, but it's a serious injury, and you 100% need to see a doctor if it ever happens to you. Driving tired, sleepy. People know that rip currents are dangerous, but don't think about them as a real threat often enough. Deep cuts on your fingertips. They're called felons and can infect your bloodstream. Clean them out, and if you see a red line traveling up your arm, get yourself to the ER immediately. My neighbor almost died from this when she cut her finger on her violin string. Edit. Removed my advice about changing tires. My main point was don't go under your car if the tire's off without a jack stand, but that should be obvious. Newts. Many newts, such as the rough-skinned newt, produce a toxin that is 10 times more potent than cyanide. They are only dangerous if you handle them and then don't wash your hands afterwards. Or if you eat the newt. There have been multiple reports over the years of someone eating a newt as part of a hazing ritual for a college fraternity and then dying. The toxin that some newts produce can kill you inside of 15 minutes because the toxins block the sodium receptors in your nerves, essentially stopping your brain from communicating with your heart. Scary stuff. TLDR. If you handle a newt, wash your hands and never put a newt in your mouth or you will die. Edit. Did not think this would blow up this much. Thank you to the Redditors that provided so much information about tetrodotoxin. To see it in action, check out this video from Nat Geo. https://yahoo bkvbi5wv8qg. Driving. Like you see the statistics of car crash deaths, but I don't think you ever truly realize how dangerous it is to simply drive somewhere, since it is such a routine thing. Eating a lot of spinach. Believe it or not, people have had kidney failure from 3 spinach smoothies in a day. This is due to the high levels of oxalic acid. Attempting to change garage door springs without knowing what you're doing can kill you. Electricity. People seem to have little understanding or respect for it. Not getting enough sleep. The ocean. Both for swimming, surfing, etc. and for boating. It is 100% not just a big swimming pool or lake. Human beings are in a completely alien environment as soon as they step off the sand or dock, and our perceptions about how things ought to play out no longer matter. The ocean is completely indifferent to human reasoning, and even to human mortality. I'm teaching a good friend to sail right now, and he's naively ambitious as far as sailing long distances in a very small boat. I wasn't joking at all when I chided him by saying, "You haven't been scared enough times yet." The reason I'm so conservative in and around the ocean is because I've developed a healthy, totally reasonable fear of it over the course of my life. Anybody who isn't a little afraid of the ocean hasn't spent enough time around it. Source: Tug Captain, lifelong surfer, and lifelong recreational sailor. Please, if you're going out on a boat, make sure you at least have a first aid kit, a fire extinguisher, a working knowledge of how to call for help on a VHF radio, an anchor to stop you from drifting into rocks if the engine fails, and PFDs for everyone. Situations you've never even imagined can arise so quickly on even a short outing. Mosquitoes. Doing nothing for a long period of time. It gets addictive and it's the hardest thing ever to get back on your feet. Not wearing sunblock. A lot of household chemicals. Mix the wrong stuff and it's game over or seriously hurt. Crap, reading all of this and wondering how am I alive and still have teeth. Listening to loud music using earbuds or really any headphones. Having permanent hearing damage sucks. King indoors, edit. I'd like to expand to running generators indoors, too.